Another well-known restaurant chain is filing for bankruptcy. This time it's Hooters.
Facing nearly $400 million in debt as it looks to sell its company-owned restaurants.
Hooters plans to sell off all of its 100 company-owned restaurants to 2 franchisee groups. Last year, Hooters closed dozens of restaurants because of rising food and labor costs.
This morning, Hooters is shifting away from its iconic skimpy waitress outfits and bikini days.
This 2010 class action lawsuit against Hooters will help employees.
We never received breaks. We were always on the floor. We had to pay for our uniforms.
Highlight, they got one former Hooters girl fired in 2013.
Hooters.
Back in 1983, on April Fool's Day, Hooters was incorporated in Florida by 6 men with no prior restaurant experience. They wanted to open a place that they could not get kicked out of. True story. The biggest obstacle early on was for the Hooters 6 to obtain a suitable location for their restaurant. They had to win a bidding war with Wells Brothers Disposal, who wanted to use the building for a giant walk-in dumpster. And they did. On October 4th, 1983, the doors to the first Hooters restaurant opened in Clearwater, Florida. By late 1984, the Hooters 6 met and struck a deal with Hugh Connerty to take the restaurant nationwide. Neighborhood restaurants, which later became Hooters of America, began development under Hooter Inc.'s trademark and oversight. They grew from Clearwater to Tampa to Atlanta. Then came Bob Brooks, founder and owner of a company in Atlanta called Eastern Foods, which supplied food products to restaurants and grocery stores. A few years later, they went international. In 1985, the first Hooters calendar, the 1986 edition, debuted with feature girl Lynn Austin. In early 1987, a local television program director approached the Hooters 6 with the idea to feature the Hooters girls on late night TV. They would introduce and host a late night Hooters Night Owl Theater starring Lynn Austin. The show soon ranked number 1 in its time slot. The show went off the air in 1995. In 1991, Hooters of America president Bob Brooks spotted the unsponsored up-and-coming owner/driver Alan Kulwicki. The two cut a deal for the last NASCAR race of 1991 in Atlanta. That blossomed into a full sponsorship the following year, which resulted in Alan winning the prestigious Winston Cup at the Hooters 500 on the very track where it all started. On April 1st, 1993, 10 years to the day of Hooters' first incorporation, tragedy struck. While on a promotional trip, Kulwicki, Bob's son, Mark Brooks, Dan Duncan, and Charlie Campbell all died when their plane crashed outside of Bristol, Tennessee. Hooters opened its first international location outside North America in Singapore in 1996, and it continues to operate today. By 1997, Hooters really gained a lot of fame. Major restaurants began selling Hooters Foods wing sauce, breading, and hot sauce. Hooters had sponsored a jet car, shovel racing, and its own arena football team. Then came the racing tour, pro golf tour, a radio show, and a college bowl game. In 2003, Hooters launched a low-cost airline that operated domestic flights within the US. 2 Hooters waitresses were on board each flight to tend to and entertain passengers. The airline's planes were themed with the brand's owl logo and painted in its signature orange. Hooters Air shut down 3 years later in 2006, citing a $40 million loss. In 2006, the Hooters 6 retained the rights to open a casino in Las Vegas. It opened on Super Bowl weekend of 2006. The casino included an on-site Hooters restaurant. They offered a casual and fun alternative to the Giants on the Strip. They had the actual car that Alan Kulwicki raced in the '92 Winston Cup race to become champion. In August 2019, Oyo Hotels and Homes partnered with New York-based investment and management company Highgate to purchase the property for $135 million. they announced plans to rename it to Oyo Hotel and Casino Las Vegas while retaining the Hooters restaurant. In April of 2006, Chanticleer Holdings made a $5 million convertible note investment into Hooters. With that, Bob Brooks, the Hooters of America chairman of the board, granted Mike Pruitt, president and CEO of Chanticleer Holdings, and his organization the right of first refusal to buy Hooters in case anything was to happen to Mr. Brooks and the company was to be sold. On July 15, 2006, HOA chairman of the board, Bob Brooks, passed away. In 2011, Chanticleer cashed in on that right and, along with other investors, completed the purchase of Hooters of America Inc. from the Brooks family. I am pleased to finally complete this transaction and fulfill the vision I discussed many times with Mr. Brooks. Mike Pruitt, president and chief executive of Chanticleer, said in a statement, "It was his desire to see his family's interests protected and to see Hooters put on sound financial footing. The management team has done an amazing job of building the company and the brand despite limited resources. It will be rewarding to help carry that dream further now that the company will have the necessary resources to grow." The chain was briefly up for sale in 2015. Hooters sales declined 1.7% from 2017 to 2018, with company-owned units growing sales 2.7% and franchisees-owned sales dropping 6.6%. Hooters, in February 2017, opened a fast casual spin-off of its casual dining restaurant called Hoots in Illinois. It was designed to appeal to customers in a hurry looking for the brand's signature chicken wings. Employees at Hoots, in contrast to those at Hooters, who wear skin-tight shirts and short shorts, dress more modestly. In 2019, Hooters were sold to Nordbay Capital and Triartisan Capital Advisors. Sal Malili became Chief Executive Officer of Hooters in September 2020. Like the rest of the food industry, Hooters was not spared from the effects of the pandemic. The CEO, in 2020, said that customers had pent-up demand during the pandemic, and the company saw them flood back when it opened its restaurants again. He said the chain reversed its declining sales and achieved flat comparable sales after reopening Hooters restaurants in 2020. They reopened their doors in mid-2020. In 2022, Hooters took out a 5-year, $70 million loan for working capital and general corporate purposes, according to a press release. In 2024, the casual dining chain shut approximately 40 restaurants around the United States. Earlier this year, in 2025, Hooters announced that they would be entering a restructuring supportive agreement to sell its 151 corporate-owned outlets to a group of franchisees led by its original founders as part of a strategy to transition to an all-franchise model. To facilitate this sale, parent company HOA Restaurant Group filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, reporting $370 million in debts. They stated to be seeking the approval of $40 million of debtor-in-possession financing from existing lenders, including $35 million in new capital. Hooters attributed the loss partly to inflation, rising food and labor costs, and waning customer spending, trends that have placed financial strain on casual dining chains last year and this year in the United States. In March of 2025, in an interview with Bloomberg, Neil Kiefer, the chief executive of Hooters founding group HMC Hospitality Group, said the chain suffered when it deviated from its roots as a family-friendly restaurant. In an interview with Bloomberg News last week, he said that the turnaround plans includes making the chain more family-friendly. You go to some parts of the country and people say, "Oh, I could never go to Hooters. My wife would kill me," Kiefer said to Bloomberg. "That's depressing to us. We want to change that." Hooters' plan at the beginning of the bankruptcy process was to complete the restructuring in 90 to 120 days, pending bankruptcy court approval, after which the remaining restaurants would be run by franchisees. The company said it will continue serving customers and supporting impacted staff at its ongoing locations throughout the process. The buyer group includes the original Hooters founders, including Neil Kiefer, CEO of the franchise group Hooters Inc. For many years now, the Hooters brand has been owned by private equity firms and other groups with no history or experience with the Hooters brand, Kiefer said in a press release. According to the Hooters website, there's no planned changes to the company's menu, rewards programs, or other offerings. Kiefer said that the founder-led buyout will allow Hooters to go back to its roots, and the restaurant emphasized that our renowned Hooters restaurants are here to stay.